What if you could transform the choices you make and unlock your business potential? Every decision you make has the power to shift your path. You have the ability to make inspired choices that drive growth and sales. Get ready to tap into the innovative power within you. Now, here's your host of Inspired Choices for Business Growth, business optimization expert, Christine McIver.
Stability. Are you looking for stability in your business? Are you even considering leaving your business so you can get a stable job? Yeah, don't do that. Tonight, we're going to talk all about what is stability and growth for an entrepreneur. And the true stability is the entrepreneur's advantage. Welcome, everyone. I'm Christine McIver. I am the host of Inspired Choices for Business Growth. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm excited about tonight's show because it's a very different way of looking at entrepreneurship, especially when we are struggling. Many of us struggle in business, and we really get these different mindsets. Or even if you share that with somebody, people will say, well, why don't you go back? Why don't you just get a regular job? Why don't you get a real job? Well, I'm going to show you how tonight is going to support your decision to be in your own business. Before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about who I am. I am a business optimization expert. I work with business owners to help them leverage their expertise and grow their business, showing them how they can put systems in place, how they can be taking their content, their business knowledge, how they can be putting it into different formats and getting it out to the world so more people can discover them. I love working with business owners. I especially love working with business owners who are looking to grow. So if you're someone that is looking for support, you're looking to grow your business, let's have a conversation. You can check me out at christinemciver.com or send me an email, christine@christinemciver.com. All right, let's get into tonight's show. We are, of course, on the Inspired Choices Network, our home station, and I'm also the CEO of the Inspired Choices Network, where we do podcasting, we do publishing, we do a brand new service called Podcast to Bookshelf. So if you're looking to have your podcast turn into a book, you absolutely should reach out. The very first book, my book, CEO Without Apology, came from this very show that you're listening to right now. It came out of my podcast, and it's a fast and easy way for you to get your content out there in another way for people to consume it. Okay, let's get into it. Let's talk about tonight's show. I'm going to just read you the show notes and we're going to jump right in. And if you're looking for questions, if you'd like to ask questions, you can join us at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com/chat room, and we can answer all of your questions there. Okay. True stability is the entrepreneur's advantage. We've been sold one of the biggest lies that a job equals stability. The truth is, companies can fire you, close down, or move overseas in an instant, leaving your so-called security gone. Has anybody experienced that? Hands up. Who's experienced that nonsense, right? In tonight's episode, we're going to uncover exactly what it means, why true stability isn't found in a paycheck, but in entrepreneurship. When you take ownership, stay consistent, and keep showing up, you create the only real stability that lasts because you control your future, not somebody else. And it is such a crazy, like the schools teach us this, our families teach us this. Get a good job, get in somewhere where it's stable, get a job where there's a consistent pension you can count on. The only person you know that you can count on is you. So you got to ask yourself, are you clinging to the illusion of job security? What would change if you trusted yourself instead of a company? Could you, could you, could entrepreneurship be your path to true stability that you've been searching for? if you're ready to stop relying on the illusion of job security and start creating real stability in your life and in your business, tonight's episode is for you. So let's get into it. Let's talk about true stability and what that means for you as an entrepreneur. Now, this show is for someone who is considering becoming starting their own business part-time or full-time, and it's also for people who have been in business for years and years, or you've just started. We all struggle in business. How many of you out there have felt like you're struggling and it's just you? It's everybody isn't struggling. How many of you feel super isolated when you're struggling in business? I can tell you, and if you feel unstable and the climate that we are in, so this is 2025, if you're listening to this after this time, October 2025, the climate right now is very, very besides unstable, it's constantly in flux. We don't know what's happening from one day to the next, and so many people, so many people are afraid of losing their jobs. They're afraid of losing their homes. They are afraid. We're so many of us are afraid, and I understand that. I get that. I experienced that myself. But what we really want to do is we want to look to ourselves for stability. You're the one that you can count on. And you should be the one that you can count on. And we're going to talk about all of these pieces around stability. But let's first talk about what the definition of stability is. So, stability is the firmness of resolve, mental equilibrium, or steadfastness. Now, that came from the mid 14th century. It also talks about solidity, being solid, consistency, durability, and I really love this adjective. The notion is ability to remain in some condition or position in spite of influences. And how much does that actually apply right now? Right? How much does that apply to what is happening in the world? But when you look at firmness of resolve for your character, or your steadfastness, really being firm and solid, and consistency. I've talked about this so many times. You are being consistent if you're getting up every day and you're going to a job, or you're getting up every day and you're doing your own business, right? If you don't get up and go to work every day, whether it's your work or somebody else's work, you're not going to have an income, right? Whether it's being paid to you by somebody else or it's being paid through what you're generating in your own business. So the first thing in stability is consistency, that you consistently are supporting yourself, that you are consistently showing up and doing what it is that's required for you to create an income. So let's be really clear. The very first peg in stability is you showing up consistently. Nobody else. It's all about you. This is extremely important because so many of us are looking to other people, right? We're looking for that support. We're looking for that security. We have been taught to seek security outside of ourselves. We have been taught to seek security from others. And that is just the worst thing that we can be teaching our colleagues, that we can be teaching our clients, that we can be teaching our children, right? We were sold that because we felt like other people had the answer for us. Other people don't have the answer. Everybody started their business, one step at a time. You can do the same thing. And when you understand that you have more ability to be stable than working for somebody else, it'll start to change things for you. It does start, however, in your mind. Now, I can say this because I really understand how unstable working for somebody else can be. I worked in human resources for many, many years, and I have seen companies come and go so quickly. I have seen at the turn of a dime, all of a sudden, they just shut it down. My very first job out of college, I was working in an international company, and we were in Canada, And the president, there was a brand new president came in. He was located in the United States. He came up to our building. He came up to our factory building. I was in the office building. There was a factory building as well. And he came up to the factory building, and suddenly we got a call, myself, the controller, and the head of accounting. We got a call that the president was in the house and he was calling everybody together. And we whipped over there as fast as we could. And you know what he said to everybody? He said, by the end of today, 2/3 of you will be gone. We will call you in one at a time. Like, what? That bomb dropped not only on every single employee in that building, but also on the head of our Canadian operations, had no idea that this was going down. Now, you talk about instability. That happens every single day in corporate offices around the world because finances, because people change positions, because somebody has a different idea. They do not have the employee's best interests at heart all of the time. Some do, absolutely, but not all the time. And so in order for you to feel secure in your life, in order for you to feel secure with your finances, you've got to learn to cultivate that for yourself. Now, I'm not telling anybody out there that there are not good companies to work for. There's many, many wonderful companies to work for. And there's many companies that treat people with respect and dignity. And when things change, they support them. They help them to maybe find a new job, to help to ease them out of a full-time job into something else. There's lots of them out there. And I'm not saying to quit your job and start a business, but if you've been thinking about it, or you've been feeling like your job, your business isn't secure, isn't stable, this is what I want to speak to you about today. You know, you can be working for somebody else and you can be starting a part-time job. You can have a part-time job within creating your own business. That creates stability so that when things change, you can easily pivot. And a lot of people did this. A lot of people did this during COVID. They had something going on, or they started to do something because they weren't leaving the home and going into a workplace. So they started to do something on their own, which was great. But now we are back to many, many people back in the workplace or working part-time from home. And things are still economically, they are not as stable as what many of us hope they would be. So this is where your own business can create such a big, big difference. So could entrepreneurship be your path to true stability that you've been searching for? Are you wondering if where you're working right now is unstable? Are you concerned that there's things that are happening, you're not 100% sure about it, and you really are starting to worry and starting to consider going out and getting another job? I'd love you to consider entrepreneurship, because for me, business is fantastic. Business is pleasure. And I know that if you have got the determination to have your own back and to create greater in your world and to create stability, entrepreneurship absolutely should be something that you consider. All right, we are up to our first break of the show. When we get back, we're going to talk about what it takes to not only be stable, but also to grow your business, because this is called Inspired Choices for Business Growth. We need to have both. And I'm going to talk to you about what it means to actually do that and what you need to choose and step into in order to have both. So you are listening to Inspired Choices for Business Growth. I'm your host, Christine McIver. We are on the Inspired Choices Network. Stick around, my friends. We will be back just after this short commercial break.
What if every business decision you made was aligned with a clear vision for your future success? Imagine the impact on your growth and profitability. On Inspired Choices for Business Growth, business optimization expert Christine McIver challenges you to focus your decisions on the bigger picture, helping you align your actions with the future you want for your business and yourself. With her expert insights and no-holds-barred approach, Christine guides you to optimize your business strategies for sustained growth and success. Ready to make choices that drive your business forward? Tune in now to start shaping your future today.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices for Business Growth with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@ChristineMcIver.com. Now, back to the program.
All right, my friends, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here tonight. You are listening to myself, Christine McIver, on my podcast, Inspired Choices for Business Growth. And tonight we're talking about true stability is the entrepreneur's advantage. Why is it our advantage? I'm going to cut to the chase because you're in control. You make the decisions. You make the choices. You decide what direction you're going to go in, and you decide how you're going to grow your business. That's the advantage because you're not at the effect of somebody else's choices. You're not at the effect of somebody saying, oh, we're not doing that business line anymore. We don't need you anymore. You're not at the effect of other people's choices. You are at the effect of your choices, and you get to choose again and again and again. And that brings me to what I wanted to share with you in this segment. So, true stability really requires us to grow. As a business, you have to be able to grow your business in order to create more stability and sustainability. So it's a very interesting thing because in order to grow, you have to change. And it feels like when you really look at the word stability and change, it doesn't feel like they will actually coexist, but they actually do coexist beautifully. But you've got to get your head around that. You've got to understand that in order for you to grow a stable company, something that you can depend upon, something that builds consistency in your life, you have to grow your business. And in order to grow your business, change is going to be required. And that can be so overwhelming, especially when we get started in business. I remember when I first started, I didn't know exactly all the things that I should be offering, all the prices that I should be putting down. And I was looking at everybody else. I was mimicking what other people were doing, and it was not working for me because I was looking outward. I wasn't looking inward. I wasn't looking at what would work for me, what I really brought to the table that was unique and different. I didn't do a proper financial evaluation of my time. I didn't do a proper evaluation of the what I was bringing to my clientele, what I was bringing to my customers. I didn't know how to do that. And so it's, through trial and error that we definitely learn and grow. But when we are looking outside at what everybody else is doing and we're mimicking what everybody else is doing, that's where we can really get unstable rather. That's where we can really throw ourselves off. And that's where, when you are mimicking what somebody else is doing, the energy of what you're creating is off. It's just off. Now, you may not feel secure in what you're creating because you're trying to do it like somebody else. Well, here's the thing. When you do that, your clients and your customers and your prospects, they also are going to feel like something's off. You really need to be creating from within, right? And that's one of the reasons why my business has been called Inspired. It's been Inspired Choices and Inspired Choices Network. So the word inspired has always been part of my business because I knew after many trials in my own life and in my business that it had to come from within. It had to come from my spirit. And that's what inspired is all about. It's about the spirit within you. You need to be inspired from yourself, not from other people. You might get excited from what other people are doing. You might get a little bit of motivation, but the true inspiration that keeps you being consistent again and again comes from within you, comes from what you create, what's important to you, and how you show up in your business. So it's extremely important that stability and growth understand that stability and growth cannot coexist without change. They just can't. And they need to both be as part of your plan, part of your strategy in your business. So, to have stability, one must grow, and therefore one must change. You have to change, and you've got to be in the spirit and understanding that change is consistent. Again, doesn't seem like they should go together. Seems like they are opposite definitions, but they're not. In order to be consistent, you have to consistently be changing. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. So, the very first thing, in order for you to be able to change in your business on a consistent basis, you have to trust you. You've got to trust you. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to have all the answers. This doesn't mean you're going to know exactly how something is going to turn out, but you've got to trust you. And what does it actually mean to trust you as an entrepreneur in business? It means that you can look yourself in the eyes and you can say, I know no matter what, you're going to show up for me. I know no matter what, we're not going to give up. I know no matter what, even if we fall down and we are in the fetal position for days on end, that we're going to get back up again, that we're going to search for an answer, that we're going to put our hand up and we're going to ask for help. We're not going to let our egos drive every single solitary choice. And you're going to trust yourself that you're going to continue to grow. That is one of the most important things. And this is the entrepreneur's advantage is the advantage is that you get to take care of the leader in your business, and that's you. Like if you've ever had a boss that you just thought, oh my God, this person is a complete idiot. They have no idea what they're doing. Nobody likes them in business. None of the employees want to work here. Everybody else is looking for a job. They're just a complete ass. They're pissing everybody off. And yeah, my producer Danielle says, I have had those bosses. Yeah, I have too. Many, many, many times. We've all experienced that, right? Well, the thing is that when you are the boss, when you are the leader, and you're willing to be vulnerable with yourself, and you're like, you know what, I'm just not great at, maybe it's communication. I'm not great when somebody challenges me. I really need to work on that. I need help with that, right? You get to identify. You get to identify where you need to grow. You get to identify the things that are missing, what the gaps are. You're the one that gets to be as vulnerable as you wish to be in order to grow your business. Now, I've said this a million times. I will say it another million times. Your business grows at the level that you personally grow. So if you, the leader, are not growing yourself, you're not challenging yourself, your business is not going to grow past you. It's just not. We could look at 1,000 examples of that. We can certainly look at that in politics, but we're not going there tonight. It's so important that you understand this on such a deep, fundamental level. You are the leader of your business. As the leader, you have to be consistent, you have to show up, and you have to be willing to identify the gaps in your business. Now, most people start out and they're a solo entrepreneur. They don't have any team members. They haven't hired anybody part-time or full-time. They are solo. You have to be willing to grow yourself in order for you to grow your business. And if you're the only person in the business, you've got to wear every single solitary hat. And I've talked about this before. I talk about it in my book, CEO Without Apology. You have to imagine yourself sitting around a boardroom table and imagine that each of the roles within the business are at the table. And you have to shift from each chair, from one to the other, to the other, to the other. So you have to go into the marketing chair. You have to go into the sales chair. Then you have to move over to the accounting chair. Then you have to move over to the PR chair. Then you have to move over to the human resources chair. You have to move over to the networking chair. You have to move over to the CEO chair. You have to occupy every one of those chairs. And I'll tell you something, you probably will not be strong, very strong, at more than a quarter of those positions. Now, think about that. If you're not strong in every single solitary position that's required within an organization, you have a gap, right? You have to identify what your gaps are. If you're not at the position to hire somebody else, in order for you to grow your business with that particular role having gaps, you have to do one of two things. You either have to get stronger in that position or you have to hire somebody else. So if you're not in the position to hire somebody else, guess what? You've got to learn yourself. You've got to educate yourself. You have got to get resources to learn how to do that position. Because if you're not, then you've got to fire yourself from that role. And you've got to then reach out and hire someone else. That's exactly how you have to work a business. If you want to be successful in your business, you've got to be willing to get your ego out of the way and identify your gaps. So, how many of you have ever sat down and looked at what's required in each of these roles? How is that role going to be successful? And where do I lack the ability to do that job? How many of you have done that? It's a really challenging thing to do if you've never done it, because it's going to tap on your ego. It can get your mind going in several directions around worrying. Oh my God, when am I going to have the time to do that? I'm already working around the clock. How am I going to ever pay somebody? Okay, just back up. Don't bring all of your worry on top of this. The first thing you want to do is you want to identify the gaps. The answers will come. The resources will come. I promise they will. It's amazing when you have your own back and you're determined. It's not about push. It's about being willing to stand strong in your determination that things will come to you. But you've got to identify your gaps. And when you identify your gaps, then you know you've got the full picture, right? This is how we build a business, by identifying where the gaps are. We also want to identify where the strengths are. What are you strong about in each of these positions? Where are you exemplary in each of these positions? Let me give you an example. In my business, I have 5 different business lines. I have my business coaching, which is business optimization. I'm the expert in that area. That's what I do. That's what I love to do. And that's how I've grown my business, is optimizing all of the pieces that I see in my business. Then we have producing. Now, I can produce for sure. That was one of the very first jobs that I learned to do when I started my business, is producing. Now, that's something that I can teach other people. And it's also something that other people are great at, better at than me. All right, is really being present and doing all the tasks that are required in producing. Then we've got editing, because we have our books that we edit. I'm definitely not an editor, but I'm certainly someone that can come in and I can review things and give support to the editing team, but that's definitely not my area of expertise. Then we've got creation work, where we're doing images. That is not my game. That is not my strength at all. And I know it. I know how far I can go with it and where I definitely have major gaps. We have marketing. I have a little bit of understanding. I'm not super educated, talented in that area. Accounting, I went to school. My very first courses that I took in college were all about accounting. I can do the basics, but it's certainly not something that you're going to take to a tax man to do. So that's definitely not my forte. And I did it at the beginning and I struggled and I made mistakes and it cost me. So you definitely want to pay attention to that. So there are so many different things that I've done that I've needed to do, but I've also identified where the gaps are and where I was actually slowing the business down. So if you're slowing the business down because you don't have those abilities, then your business isn't going to be as stable, right? Your business isn't going to be as stable because you're dragging things along and you're definitely not going to be growing your company. And if you're not growing your company, you're definitely not going to have a stable business that you can count on for financial abilities, for growth, all the pieces that are required in business. Okay, we are up to our next break of the show. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you about the different types of stability that each of us need to have in our businesses in order to help them be more stable and in order to help them grow. And if you are enjoying tonight's show, I would love for you to go over to iTunes and give this show a 5-star review. Just search for Inspired Choices for Business Growth. You can search my name as well, Christine McIver. That would mean the world to me. And you know what it does when you give support to a business, what it does is it helps that business to be seen and to be heard by the people that are looking for it. I would be really, really grateful if you would do that, or if wherever you're listening, if you would give me a comment of something that you're enjoying. It really does make a big, big difference in my business, if for other people in their businesses. And when you're in your own business, I know you'll be really, really grateful when people do that as well. Okay, my friends, you're listening to Inspired Choices for Business Growth. I'm your host, Christine McIver. We are on the Inspired Choices Network, and we will be right back after this break.
What if every business decision you made was aligned with a clear vision for your future success? Imagine the impact on your growth and profitability. On Inspired Choices for Business Growth, business optimization expert Christine McIver challenges you to focus your decisions on the bigger picture, helping you align your actions with the future you want for your business and yourself. With her expert insights and no-holds-barred approach, Christine guides you to optimize your business strategies for sustained growth and success. Ready to make choices that drive your business forward? Tune in now to start shaping your future today.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is Inspired Choices for Business Growth with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@ChristineMcIver.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, my friends. Yes, tonight we're talking all about stability, true stability being the entrepreneur's advantage. So, if you've just joined, we were talking about how stability is the firmness and the resolve, the mental equilibrium and steadfastness. That's what stability is. And the advantage to the entrepreneur is that you are in control of your choices. And when we look outside of ourselves and mimic what others are doing, that is when we become unstable. That's when we're not truly connected with what's going on inside of us. Your business grows at the level that you personally grow. So stability requires you to grow yourself, continuously look at where the gaps are within you, and stay focused on your dreams, right? Keep the vision in front of you. Continue to seek for more in your business and more in your life. When we are in that energy of more and we're not in the worry and the fear, we actually are open to receiving more. When we are in fear, when we are in doubt, it's like we put up these barriers. We put up barriers around us and we cut off receiving because we are contracting. We're worrying and we're considering that that is true, that what we're worrying about is true. It can be if you continue to allow it to be. And I know we all struggle. The last 2 or 3 weeks in my business has been some of the most unstable. And it's so hilarious. Whenever I create a show, when I come up with what I want to talk about and the title and so on, suddenly the universe says, okay, we need to deliver this to her. So when she actually does the show, she really comes with the information. Oh my God, enough is enough. Like the instability that has been happening has been crazy. Like I couldn't believe every time I turned around, it was like another hit and another hit and another hit. And it was like, okay, so what's required? What's required? I've reached out for support. I've done all of the things. My what happened was my credit card got compromised. And as soon as I saw that, I put a stop to that credit card. A new credit card was issued. 3 or 4 days later, I come and all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, what's going on? Oh my gosh, we have a mail strike. So the credit card couldn't come through the mail. Well, that credit card company refuses to courier any credit cards out. So I had to apply with a different company. And then it was all crazy back and forth with them for nearly 2 weeks before I actually received a credit card. There was so many phone calls and so many crazy things that was happening using other credit cards, and suddenly they got stops put on them. It has just been insane. And it through all of this, while I thought I was losing my mind, I kept asking, okay, what do I need to do? The very first thing I needed to do is I needed to get mentally stable. I needed to come out of feeling like a victim. I needed to come out of worry, and therefore I needed to get calm. So I actually detached. I took longer breaks. I took longer rests. I went out and took walks and just had some space mentally, because the fact of the matter is I can't control that. What I can control is my mental state. I'm definitely responsible for that. And so that's what I needed to do. And as I started to do that, things started to shift slowly, but they started to shift. And they also had me really look at, okay, how am I going to respond to these types of situations? Are there things that I need to do differently in my business? Are there things that I need to have in place so that I am not in this position again? And what do I need to be doing in order for me to continue to move forward when life throws a huge curveball? So, those are some of the questions that I've been dealing with. And what's interesting to me, even though really don't want to admit this, what's really interesting to me is this experience has taught me a number of things that I can be doing in order to create more stability in my business. So there you go. Okay, universe, can we stop now? All right. What I want to talk about now is the different types of stability. So I've already been talking about one of the types of stability, and that's mental stability and energetic stability. So you create what fuels you, what inspires you, and what energizes you in challenging times. You do. You as the leader in your business, you as the entrepreneur, as the CEO in your business, you must work on your mental and energetic stability. You have to. That has to be a huge priority. There are so many people that are out here pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and they are wearing themselves down. They're getting themselves into deep depression, into physical illness, or into mental challenges like they've never experienced before. We cannot operate from push. We need to be operating from creative. We need to be operating from questions. We need to be operating from stability. And the first stability must be your mental and energetic stability. You have got to make this a priority. If you don't make this a priority, I can guarantee you it will cost you. Eventually it will cost you. I've had a number of times where, I've been known, people used to joke was like, "Oh, give it to Christine, she'll get her done." That was the thing that people used to say all the time because A, I like to work, and B, I would stay at something for endless hours. And I would think, oh, it'll be okay. I can rest later, or I can do this. And, I would want to accomplish something. I wanted to get the big attaboys from other people. And where was I in all of that? I was left exhausted, dragging my body sometimes getting ill. And that certainly did not create stability in my life. When you're pushing yourself like that and you're exhausted, you can't grow your business. You have to make this number one is your mental and energetic stability. The next type of stability that I want to talk about is financial stability. And I know that that sounds pretty ironic saying that's a stability we need when we're trying to get stability, that we need to have financial stability. But here's what I'm talking about. When we're talking about financial stability, we need to have cash flow. We need to have access to finances. And as I was talking about with my credit cards this past couple of weeks, I did not feel financially stable. I had money, cash in the bank. I definitely have savings and so on. But in order to pay for things, a credit card was required. So that didn't feel stable. I had the cash flow, I had the revenue, and reoccurring revenue is another financial stability, but I didn't have the means to pay for something online. And that's another piece of the stability. So really having access to credit cards is a piece of stability in an online business. We also, for financial stability, we need to have pricing that matches our true value. So when we have pricing that matches our true value, we're operating from inspiration from ourselves. We are taking care of all of the positions and ensuring that we actually have the skills for those positions, or we're hiring people for those positions. That's how our businesses can grow, and therefore creating more financial stability, more cash flow, right? So all of these pieces of stability require action as well, require the growth. All right. I hope that makes sense. In order to do one, we have to do the others, and they flow back and forth to each other. The next stability that I want to talk about is operational stability. And this is one of those pieces that I talk about in business all of the time. When I'm working one-on-one with a client, this is one of the biggest pieces that we're talking about is operational stability. Operational stability is paramount for business success. It's also paramount to support emotional stability, financial stability, mental stability, energetic stability, all of the pieces. If we don't have the proper operational stability in place, we're not going to be able to succeed in other places. People often hear, you're bootstrapping it, right? Which means you're doing it by yourself and you're pushing as hard as you can to get it all done. That's what bootstrapping it means. Bootstrapping is not structure. Bootstrapping is not having systems in place to support you, right? So you need to have proper systems. You need to have your standard operating procedures. You need to have your processes down pat. And you also need to have innovation that keeps you out of constant reaction. When you don't have operational stability, you're jumping. You're jumping from one issue to another, to another, to another. Oh my God, I got to do that. And I forgot about doing that. And when you have your systems in place, when you have your processes in place, you follow these systems, you follow these processes. And this is where you are stable in your operations, which makes you more stable in your financial growth. And it also helps you so that you're not constantly chasing solutions in order to put out fires. It's a terrible feeling when something goes completely off the rails. It really knocks us. It knocks our nervous system, which will knock our mental state. It will knock everything out of position. You want to get as much of your operation standardized as possible. Having individuals working on your team that are taking care of different sections of the operations allows for you to be a floater when there are things that they need support on, And it allows you to grow your business because you get to be more in the networking, in the sales, and in the creation zone. That's where you as a CEO will shine. Remember, go back to that first day when you thought about starting this business and what you wanted to do. What if that was the biggest piece of your business that you could focus on and you had other team members that were working the operations, working the processes and the systems to support what it is that you love to do? What would that be like for you? Think about that. We are up to our next break here on the Inspired Choices for Business Growth. I'm your host, Christine McIver. We are on Inspired Choices Network. And if you are out there listening to this live or on demand, I would love for you to leave me a comment or send me an email, Christine at ChristineMcIver.com. And if you're interested in what I'm saying and you'd like more, check out my book. You can grab it on Amazon. It's CEO Without Apology. There are 8 chapters in here where I go into depth, a lot of the things that is going to support you to be a stronger entrepreneur and really become a CEO of your business. Okay, my friends, stick around. We'll be back right after this break.
What if every business decision you made was aligned with a clear vision for your future success? Imagine the impact on your growth and profitability. On Inspired Choices for Business Growth, business optimization expert Christine McIver challenges you to focus your decisions on the bigger picture, helping you align your actions with the future you want for your business and yourself. With her expert insights and no-holds-barred approach, Christine guides you to optimize your business strategies for sustained growth and success. Ready to make choices that drive your business forward? Tune in now to start shaping your future today.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices for Business Growth with business optimization expert Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at ChristineMcIver.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Yes, we have been talking tonight all about stability and really how true stability is the entrepreneur's advantage. Now, let me be really clear. Entrepreneurship is work. If you just want to go to a job and not think about work and just come home and have these 2 parts of your life extremely separate, go for it. As long as you do that with the mindfulness that you are putting your future in somebody else's hands. Because like I said at the beginning, your business, your job is at the effect of somebody else's choices. And something that I said to you at the very beginning, and I'm wondering if you're thinking about it now, could entrepreneurship be your path to true stability that you've been searching for? Or maybe you already are an entrepreneur, but you're not feeling stable. Are there things that you need support with? Are you feeling like you're searching all the time and you can't figure out what direction to go in and some of the things that you need to be doing? Again, please reach out to me. We can have a quick conversation. Let's see if there's a fit and how I can support you. This is what I love to do. That I've always, always, always loved working with other people to help them in their businesses because business is fun to me. It's like a game for me. I enjoy it so very, very much. So send me an email, Christine at ChristineMcIver.com. Check out what I offer on my website, ChristineMcIver.com. Let's have a conversation. You're not going to know what maybe you could be getting support on that could make things easier. And And what if connecting with a coach, connecting with a business coach, somebody that's been there, who has done it, who's struggled, what if that's exactly what you need and you're afraid to reach out? If you're afraid to reach out, there's something inside of you that's saying you need it. All right. Sit with that. Think about that. What would change in your life if you had somebody that was supporting you to get out of the struggles that you're having in your business right now? Next week, we're going to be talking about compassion fatigue in business with for entrepreneurs. It's a very different topic. It's certainly a topic that I didn't think I was going to be talking about, but we are. We're going to be doing that next week for sure. So, before we finish up today, I want to touch on the other forms of stability, the other types of stability that you and I all need in our businesses. So I've talked about mental stability and energetic stability. I've talked about financial stability and operational stability. Let's talk about emotional stability. We kind of touched on that a little bit earlier in the show, but on emotional stability is that trust in yourself. And I can't emphasize this enough. Trusting yourself that you are going to show up, trusting that you are going to be your own advocate, and trusting that you're not going to allow your ego to run your emotions. We all have emotions. Emotions are part of the human journey. Emotions are really feelings in motion. They actually give you insight. They tell you stories. But when you are at the effect of your emotions, that's where you're allowing your ego to take over. And that's when it can really impact you in a very, very negative way. And that's where we need to have emotional stability. We need to be able to go through our emotions and trust we will get on the other side and know how to handle our emotions. Your emotions absolutely, like I said, can inform you, but they can also wipe you out. And you can be at the effect of your emotions for a very, very long period of time. And, so many of us out here there's a lot of emotions going on in the world. So now more than ever, we need to have emotional stability just to manage the day to day of everything that's going on in the world. The last form of stability is really one of my favorites in business. It's creative stability. We have to have creative stability in our businesses so that we can learn how to evolve and how to change instead of being pushed forward or mowed over with what's going on in the world. When you have creative stability, you know that you are going to continuously be looking for what else could be applied to your business, how else you can operate in your business, how your operations can become something different, can be done differently. Creative stability is about growth. It's about uh, research and development. It's also about fine tuning everything that you're doing in your business. When you know that you can count on yourself to be in that space of continuous evolution, then you know you are going to be able to move through whatever comes your way in business. All of these types of stability are so critical for us to grow ourselves, to grow our business, but also to enjoy our business, right? You want to be able to come to your job, come to your business every single day and enjoy it. Because if you're not enjoying it, why would you be doing that? Right? That's what I say about people in jobs that are miserable in their jobs. Why are you doing that? Today, in the 22nd century, we have so many choices. We have more choices than any human being has ever had in the world today. Why not see what it would be like to create your own stability for your life, for your family, and for your future? Thank you for being here tonight, my friends. I hope you'll come back next week. I hope you'll reach out, and I hope you grab my book, CEO Without Apology. I absolutely think you're going to get a lot out of it. And when you do, there's a whole bunch of free resources for you. Until next week, remember, you can always make another choice. Take good care of yourself, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to Inspired Choices for Business Growth. Christine McIver will be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Be sure to join us again for you and your business. Until then, remember to make the choices that align with your true desires. This is your business, and it's time to create the future you truly want.